Hey everybody, welcome back to Exploring with the Smiths. Today we're going to show you excerpts of our trip to the Richland County B&O Rail Trail, where we started in Lexington, Ohio and rode down to Bellville, Ohio, and we're going to talk about that. What were your impressions of our trip? That is not a loaded question. Lexington, Ohio. We started in Lexington, Ohio, and we're going to show you here in just a second. We started, as we usually do, guys, with a lunch at Buck's Bar and Grill. We usually like a little bit more high, what would you call it? More highbrow dining. This was adequate. Let's put it that way.
But in all fairness, we've been to some bar and grills that have really good food.
Yeah, so we have been to some really good bar and grills. So just because
something's a bar and grill doesn't mean that it's necessarily low-end food.
Correct.
It was interesting. The restaurant wasn't. It was okay.
Well, we'll show. They'll get to see it here in a little bit. So we're not going into too much detail. We're going to start the video, and we will be up in the corner like we usually are. A couple of videos, I think you were doing other things, and I kind of took the reins and did maybe some overdubbing and things for a couple of videos. But yeah, so the first thing, and we're going to show you here as we get the video started, is the parking situation in Lexington, Ohio for the rail trail is awful.
But we ate first.
Yeah, we ate first.
There were not a lot of options for
eating. For eating,
if you didn't want fast food.
Right.
So that was the first thing. So we picked the lesser of evils we had to choose from.
I picked the best that I thought.
So to speak.
Yeah. So as I usually do, guys, I sit there and I. The week before, so we kind of get an idea of the next 3 or 4 bike rides we're going to do or hikes we're going to do, and I kind of scope the area at least a week before and kind of find a good restaurant, or there's some shops nearby that she might be interested in looking in, that type of thing. So I did the same thing here. I picked the best that I thought we had, and we did our food, and then we went in search of the parking. Now, I thought when I looked, there was literally a nice bike shop called Why Not Bicycle Shop that's literally right next to the trail and had an entrance point right there by the trail. So I thought, hey, we'll look in the bike shop. There might be something I might want.
And looking on Google Maps, it looked like that would be a place to park.
Right.
For bicyclists.
Because it was a big parking lot that they had.
Actually, there were 2 lots there. There's one that's paved and then one that's gravel.
Right.
So when you look at Google Maps, it appears that would be the perfect place to park and get on the trail for your bike ride. And you can go into the bicycle shop and pick up anything that you might need, or look at bicycles and new gear and whatever. But
when we pulled into park at the bike shop, they had a sign sitting there that says no trail parking.
Which was I thought was very unfortunate, and I think a really bad call on the owner's part.
Right.
In all fairness, we're small business owners, and I understand that you make decisions that other people don't understand. But there are 2 areas that are their areas for parking. Like I said, one's gravel, one's paved. There's plenty of paved parking for customers for their bicycle shop, and I don't see the purpose of having access to the trail there if you're not going to allow people to park there. It just seems silly. And one of the people that we talked to when we had a hard time finding where we should park to get on the trail said that we should do Google Maps to find out where we should park, and we should have looked ahead of time. Which we did, and it appeared from Google Maps that you could park there and be able to get on the trail. So we did our homework, we thought. But
we couldn't park there. Okay. So we had to go find the trail parking, which we did.
They had a sign in the parking lot that said, rail parking. After they told you couldn't park there, they had a sign that said, parking for the rail trail is, I forget the name of the street, but it gave you the name of the street.
Correct.
So we went in search of that street.
Lexington Road, I think it was. It was the road that ran between Lexington and Mansfield. Okay, yeah. So this trail system goes from Mansfield down through Lexington, down past the Dare Dutchman restaurant, down through Bellville, Ohio, heading southeast, and ends up in Butler. It terminates in Butler, Ohio, the home of Clear Fork skiing. But so that's kind of the trail. So we kind of wanted to, we started in Lexington. We know that there's some issues with crime in the Mansfield, Ohio area, unfortunately. So we kind of went south of there. We targeted Lexington. I was going to go from Lexington down to Bellville, a little bit past Bellville actually, and then back. And so we went onto this road. I think it was the Lexington Road. And we're looking for signs. We figured there'd be some sort of sign, trail parking, la 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 la. Well, we found a little like ball field area where there was some baseball games going on. So there's baseball games, and then there was some soccer fields. So we parked down there. I thought, well, it's probably tied in with this, right? So we just parked down at this little park, and there'll probably be an entrance to the trail, which is kind of near. So that wasn't the case. There was the trail was way off in the distance. You would have had to do a little bit of a hike with your bicycle to get to the trail.
There was no trail access there.
This is weird. There's no trail access.
Yeah.
So we continued up the road thinking, well, maybe it's just further up the road. And we went and we went and we went, and we were pretty much all the way up to South Mansfield, and we realized there is no trail parking along this road. We turned back, went all the way back to the Why Not Bicycle Shop, and the guy says, I'm like, where is this trail parking? He said, well, there's this little sign. It's down by the ball fields, and then you have to turn there. There is a sign. It's kind of crooked and it's kind of faded. Hey, I agree. They need to have better signage. You're preaching to the choir.
And we went up and down this road twice.
Right.
And we were looking for the sign.
Right. And for what I do for a living, I have to find people's homes and places, being in the landscape being a landscape contractor. So I'm used to these types of things and finding things on Google Maps. So we could not find it. So he says, now you can park across the road right from us is the senior center, which was the old train station, which you'd think, well, that's where they would put parking for the trail in this system, is near the old train station. Well, that was part of a senior citizen complex. And she thought, well, why would we want to park there? Then the people that want to use the senior citizens place won't have a place to park.
Yeah, I thought that was very uncool to tell people that you can't park at the bike shop, which goes along with what you're doing.
There's no parking at the bike shop.
You can go park in the senior center parking lot.
Right. That
does not make any sense to me.
Right. So there's no parking at the bike shop, which I understand on a busy day. If it was a light day, when I came back and asked questions, I would have, as a owner, well, he told me, he said, hey, the owner's not going to let you park here. We'll get into trouble if we let you park here. So that's cool. I understand. However, directing across the street to the senior center was a no-go for us. We didn't want to take up a space. Our car was going to be there for several hours, 3 or 4 hours. And so we just attempted to find the real parking, because he said it had bathrooms and it has, drinking fountains so you can fill up your water bottles if you need to, blah, blah, blah. So we finally find it. We're going to go ahead and get the video started here, and you'll see yourself how crazy.
We ended up parking in that parking lot that we had originally gone into, even though there was no trail access there.
We had to walk up a hill,
yes,
across the grass, way back off the road. You'll see.
Towards the trail.
Right.
And then that's when we found the parking.
Right. So let's go ahead and let's get this started. Now this is what we split this because we didn't want to eat a whole lot before we go a nice bike ride. So we did like a steak salad. It was decent.
It was okay.
It was okay.
It was questionable.
The green, what is it? Fried green tomatoes were frozen. Now here's one of the signs. Now here's the sign you have to see from the road.
But it's back off the road.
Now wait, they'll see it. Just hold on. We show it. I have it all on film for posterity. And I'm also going to tell you guys that want to ride this trail where to park. And it's not in Lexington, Ohio. Okay, so here you go. Now if you see the faded, crackly sign, as you're going perpendicular, you got to come back this way, go off to the right, and back past the red truck. And I asked the guy in the bike shop, I'm like, well, there was a maintenance facility on the right side. And he's like, oh yeah, it's kind of back by there.
It is
kind of back by there. It's behind the maintenance facility. So if you guys are determined to park in Lexington, Ohio to ride the stretch down and back, this is what you have to look for. It's by the ball field. You can see there's the volleyball area they had.
There's where we had to go through the grass to get to
up a hill. There's a steep hill there.
To get to
pretty steep hill actually.
Access.
Which this is just not acceptable. So we finally got on the route. We've ridden this trail before with the kids, but we've parked further down by the Der Dutchman restaurant.
This little girl was so cute. She was waving.
So we never done this northern part of the trail, which I kind of wanted to see how it was, and I really liked it. It's a great stretch of trail.
It is. It was beautiful.
So, but the next time we come down this way, we're going to do an entire separate video on Bellville, Ohio. We're going to take a Saturday. We're going to go to Bellville. We're going to park in Bellville, Ohio. We're going to look at the shops. They've got a couple of nice restaurants there we're going to check out. And we will show that on one of our upcoming videos sometime this summer. So stay tuned for that.
And we love small towns. We're not trying to bash small towns. I'm from a small town.
Now here's the old train station.
That's also the senior center, and that's where the bicycle guy said we should park.
And you can tell that the lot was pretty full. Yeah. And it was full, and there were senior citizens there. And so I'm glad we didn't park there. We went further up, but it's a beautiful trail, amazing trail.
But the people in Lexington that run Lexington know that the signage for the rail trail is a problem.
Right, and they don't care.
And they don't care. They're not going to do
honestly
anything
don't care.
about it.
We reached out to them on social media through their Facebook group. That's for their town, and we got some pretty ugly responses. So we kind of...
And we were just trying to let them know that as someone who's not from that area, we're avid cyclists and love the rail trails. You're not doing your town any favors.
No.
You're not going to draw people in if they can't find where to park.
Right.
And where the trail access
And that's
is.
the whole point of this series. We're trying to let you guys know where to go, what to do, that there's a lot of fun out here on the rail trails, and bicycling in general is a great hobby to have and a great way to get some exercise. So I feel like it's our job to let you know these things. Now, hopefully these things will change. Hey, there's me. But you'll see here as we come up towards the latter part of the video how Bellville, Ohio, Troy, Ohio, and some of the other videos you have all watched, they are really catering to the cyclists, which is really smart. They've got easy access to the trail. They've got clear signage. The local vendors and shop owners are catering to the cyclists with ice cream. They've got pizza parlors. They've really have gotten a lot of little businesses that have sprung up along the bike trail as this is becoming a really popular hobby and a way to get out and get some exercise. So
you even had one guy chime in on the Lexington, Ohio forum that said if you weren't planning on spending thousands of dollars in their town, they didn't care if
they didn't care if we came there or not, or if we needed to find a place to park. Now here's a place we stopped, and they got some beautiful places along the way, as you'll see here. That Carol filmed this segment. Little bluffs and things, and then this trail system runs along the Clear Fork Mohican River, so it's got some beautiful scenery.
And it was so beautiful that day because finally we were getting some nice weather, and it was really spring, and everything was that really pretty, vibrant spring green. Just so beautiful, and it smelled so good, and there's a little bench where you can sit and just take a break.
Stay hydrated.
Stay hydrated. It's important. Make sure you take lots of water. So
we're taking 2 water bottles, and then if it's going to be above 85, we'll take more water.
So you can see some of it is in trees, and then there's some of it that's in more in open fields like this.
It's a nice variety, and then you get past a couple of factories. Since this was an old rail line, of course, so And then you'll see one of the places we used to stop at all the time with the kids when they were little, when we rode this with the kids, was there's this creepy little cemetery.
It's not really.
It's a settler cemetery.
It's not really creepy. It's really interesting, actually, to try to read the old stones and stuff. But it's really changed since the last time we were there.
Yeah. Looks like some of the stones have been pushed over. They have a sign up that says "Don't touch the stones," but it's kind of sad to see. There's probably been some vandalism going on there, but it's an old settlers. We're talking, early 1800s.
Yeah.
This area was really kind of 1809, 1805, when a lot of these little towns were founded. 1840s, the rail line came through B&O, Baltimore and Ohio Railroad. So this area used to have a lot of factories, processing for farms.
Make sure if you're taking littles with you, there are several roads that you need to cross, so make sure you're aware of that.
Yeah.
With them.
Pretty much the only place we had a problem, and we'll see here up ahead, was in Bellville. There's a busy road to cross.
Yeah.
So they should really probably try to come up with a solution for that with some sort of a flashing light, or yield to cyclists, or yield to pedestrians and cyclists. Now here's the creepy cemetery. But you can see there's not a whole lot of stones left standing, and some of them are easy to read and some of them are not easy at all. You can hardly read them at all. Here's the warning sign. It's a nice way of saying don't touch the stones.
Really old.
Really old. So you can tell this was a cemetery full of stones at one time, and some of them you can tell are like just under the grass that had fallen over years and years and years ago. But pretty interesting. I wouldn't want to be there at night.
No. If those trees could talk, I'm sure.
Yeah,
they'd have
those are
stories to
pretty
tell.
much the original trees too. They're pretty big trees that have been there since the cemetery was founded.
Yeah.
So there's one that died in 1859. So we'll try to check stuff like this out when we're riding along the trail if we can, if it doesn't have a no trespassing sign up, if it's a private cemetery, obviously. Because we want to learn about the history of the area. So yeah, I want to encourage you guys to get out on the rail trails. Go get a good quality bike. If you don't have a hitch on your vehicle, they're not expensive to have a hitch put on your vehicle, so you can get a nice carrier, a sturdy carrier for your bikes, and get out and see some of this stuff. It's a lot of history out there, a lot of beautiful scenery, a lot of great little towns. So yeah. And here we are, we're riding back north after we pretty much turned around at the cemetery and started heading back north. This was when we came down here the last time with the kids. Both of these factories were closed, and now they're both open.
That was nice to see.
So we're starting to see the effects of good economic policies, that things are starting to come back to these areas, and you're starting to see the areas like we showed you in Chillicothe on the last video, where there are entrepreneurs coming into these little towns and starting to fix them up and catering to the new workers that are coming in for these new factories. Now this place, LMI, you can see there they're making things like strapping for semi trucks and basically accessories for the trucking industry. This place here, I'm trying to think what it was. It was another, I think some type of sub-assembly plant. Some more cyclists coming all up ahead there. But so good to see the manufacturing, starting to come back, right?
Beautiful red maple trees along this part of the trail.
Crimson Kings. So just nice and peaceful. But this is just the outskirts of the southern part of Bellville we're coming up into.
There's a really nice place in Bellville, and you'll see coming up for cyclists to stop. They have a drinking fountain and restrooms, benches.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, there was a little shopping area there also, but
it's closed.
It looks like it's gone bankrupt,
Yeah,
which is really unfortunate.
Yeah. Veterinarian office. So here we're coming up on the road we were telling you about. There's a beautiful blue bridge. It's kind of famous in Bellville. And then it's a really busy road. We sat there for quite a while before we were able to cross because of the amount of traffic. In other towns we've experienced roads that we have to cross that are like that. They have signage up and the cars will actually stop for you and let you cross, and then they'll go, but we weren't seeing any of that. So again, it ties in with some of these areas really cater to the cyclists, and those are on especially the west side of Ohio, the route that goes up through Xenia and down to Cincinnati that we're going to be showing in more upcoming videos, really cater to the cyclists a lot.
And I think Belleville does to a certain degree. And I think eventually they're going to have to do something with this intersection, though, because it is really, really busy. And like I said, if you had little ones, like we used to have to take little ones across here, you'd have to be really careful with them, because I don't think the drivers are going to be careful. So you just really have to be aware.
No, I didn't see too much concern with the drivers.
No.
They were just out for themselves. But coming up here on the left, there's one of these. You don't see these the older style grain elevators. This would have been mid to late 1800s, where the old trains would come through here and they would get loaded with grain. The more modern ones are the big steel cylinders, galvanized cylinders. But this is the old style. Looks kind of like a big tall barn with chutes out the side, like this. That's pretty rare. You don't see those very often. And it looks like still some basically farm implement companies there. Here's the infamous road. It's coming up. You can see all the traffic. And then some of the communities, they will actually build a pedestrian bridge that you may have seen in the last video on the Chillicothe ride, where they literally just built a pedestrian bridge that just went over the road. So that's probably the best solution, but it's going to be expensive. So in the meantime, just flashing lights with the yielding signs to yield to the pedestrians and cyclists would probably be the short-term solution.
Part of the problem is there's a curve.
Oh, there's the blue bridge.
Yeah, cars come around a curve and they drive too fast.
Yeah, there's a curve up ahead. So, but there's the beautiful blue bridge.
More benches to sit.
So we'll go down to this bench in just a minute. And that is again the Clear Fork Mohican River. But here's the little stop that Bellville put in for their cyclists to promote cycling. They haven't had this beautiful place you'll see here on the left, which used to be, when last time we came through, was antique shop. They had an ice cream shop. I think they sold pictures and things. I kind of panned past it kind of quick there. There was a for sale sign there, so hopefully someone will buy that and try to make a go of it. And you can see it looks like the old train station they've converted. Bathrooms, drinking fountains, places to fill up your water bottles. They've got a picnic area down below, down by the river, and a beautiful bench right down on the river. We just went down there. It actually had like a set of rapids that went through there. It was kind of cool. So shout out to Bellville. We're gonna come back, like I said earlier, we're gonna do a Saturday where we're gonna park right there where you see, and we'll show more of the town, the shops, places that you can eat in Bellville, and do another segment of this trail ride for you.
Actually, there's a little restaurant across this.
I kind of had my eye on.
Yeah.
I forget what it's
So right
called,
here.
but it looked good. It looked like somebody just remodeled it, and it looks really nice.
It's called River or something.
Yeah.
I forget the name of it. We're gonna check that out next time.
So there you can see down the way there, that's the entrance into the actual town where there's the shops and things. They got a bandstand up there, I guess, where they can do concerts on the weekends. And so yeah, pretty nice. So here we are just heading back. We're heading back right up. We're at this spot in the video. We're really close to the Dare Dutchman parking. It's probably 200 yards up the road from the Dare Dutchman restaurant. So if you're looking to try the Dare Dutchman for lunch or dinner and still do the trail, you can still do that. They've got dedicated parking for the trail right by the Dare Dutchman. So,
Which is a great option.
it's a great option. So we may do that again sometimes too. That's what we used to do with the kids. We'd ride and then go to Dare Dutchman.
But they're not open on Sunday.
But they're not open on Sunday.
In case you don't know that, they're not open on Sunday. So.
Or you can continue riding all the way down to Butler, and there's a great little restaurant I recommend if you want to go down to Butler, which is south of Bellville, is the Wiffle Tree. Homemade French fries, great hamburgers, milkshakes. But we're trying to try something a little different. We've never done the ride from Lexington.
We wanted to give them a chance.
We wanted to give them a chance. So now here we are. We stopped under the rail bridge and a babbling brook. Just take it in, how beautiful it is. Then we're finding a lot of the trails, even the ones that on the west side of the state, aren't really as crowded as I thought they would be, which is good and bad. You want to see more traffic, but it's nice to kind of have the trail to yourself.
Sometimes, yeah.
So now here in this segment is this beautiful old farm. I had to get this.
Yes, and the farmer was out plowing his field.
And he waved at us.
Yeah, he waved at us.
Old school.
He's got an old school tractor.
Got his old school tractor. Just a great sight to see. So I want to thank everybody for coming along. Again, this is the Richland County B&O Rail Trail. Check it out, Mansfield to Butler. And we'll see you next time.
Thanks for watching.
Ciao.